My name is Brendan Crighton. I'm the state senator from Lynn. Thank you, Sean. Really appreciate and want to welcome everyone to the Senator Bolverini Scenic Walkway in Red Rock Park, one of Lynn's finest gems, and certainly would not be here without Leader Boverini's steadfast leadership. I would argue it's perhaps the best park in the Commonwealth. I don't know if Commissioner Rigo can admit to that. He agrees. Turned his back on Revere. That's great. Thank you. Really appreciate, I want to recognize all the elected officials first that are here. We have former Senator, former Rep, former Mayor Thomas McGee. Let's clap it up. We have current Lynn Mayor Jared Nicholson. Register of Probate Pam Casey O'Brien. City Councilor of Ward 4 Natasha Meggie Madry. City Councilor of Ward 3 Coco Allensug. We have former State Representative Steve Walsh. And current State Rep Dan Cahill and Jenny Armini. Did I miss any electeds? We're also joined here by a number of community groups, the Friends of Lynn and Nahant Beach, which worked closely with Senator Boverini as they were restoring this beautiful park and walkway. We also have Chris Mancini from Save the Harbor, Save the Bay, as well as the Metropolitan Beaches Commission. We're also joined here by a number of close friends, and I'm not going to go through all the names, but I wanted to recognize someone that was with Senator Boverini throughout his career from the start to the finish, Mike Leonard. And I heard from a number of Senator Boverini's former staff and colleagues, and I just wanted to recognize a few of those folks that couldn't be here because of previous commitments, but Nick Costin, our former superintendent, had reached out to express his praise, as well as Senator Boverini's former aide, Bill Kane, and former Community Development Director, Ed Calnan, as well, all reached out. And certainly, most importantly, want to recognize the Boverini family at large that's here today. We're going to hear from Luisa and Maria later in the program, but certainly wanted to recognize Christine, who had worked for many years to try to make this monument a reality. Without the entire family's persistence and commitment, we would not be here today. So it's an honor to reflect on Senator Boverini and his career in the city. And I know we have a lot of speakers, so I will be brief. But you know, our political careers never overlapped. I'm a little bit younger, but growing up in Lynn, like I think most Lynners, we knew of Walter. He was a legend of sort, and certainly in my family, he was someone that was talked about quite a bit. My grandfather, who I'm named after, Brendan Crighton, he was known as Brendy, served in World War II, and growing up, we always had a picture of Walter and my grandfather and two other gentlemen whose names escape me, but they had just come back from World War II. They had all seen combat, and they were toasting, having a toast, a celebration in their uniforms. And that was something that Walter made sure got to my father, I think around the time that my grandfather passed. And that was just who he was as a person. He cared about people and always wanted to make everyone feel their best and appreciated. And I also, my father, we were reminiscing a bit about his career this past week, and he reminded me that the first campaign that he ever worked on was not my campaign, running for office, but it was a certain Pup Warner coach he had. I'm looking at you, Mr. Leonard, that encouraged all the players after practice to grab some leaflets and to go out in the neighborhoods to support Walter as he was running for office. He lived his life, certainly as a leader, from the start, from the football field to his 35 combat missions over Europe during World War II, as a coach, as an educator, as a state rep, and then to one of the highest levels really in state government as the Senate Majority Leader. His leadership and commitment are still reflected here today at this park and throughout the city and throughout all the lives that he touched. It's an honor to be here and an honor to introduce our Mayor, Jared Nicholson.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'd like to thank the state delegation as well as the DCR and all the family members for your support and help in getting this beautiful monument set up. It is so exciting to be able to memorialize the impact of such a wonderful man. I never had the privilege of working with the senator, but his legacy is so clearly evident as we go about our work today. And as I've learned more about his background and his contributions, I've been reflecting on just what an amazing story it is, and also what an amazing place that we live in here in Lynn that has those incredible leaders and those incredible stories like Leader Bolverini, the son of immigrants, the incredible service of a combat veteran in World War II, the dedication to education. I think it's so impressive. The breadth of the aspects of the educational system in Lynn that he touched, thinking about all the different schools and roles that he had. And this park, this walkway, the Lynn Shore Drive, and the instrumental role he played in having it look the way it does today. And I think about what all that means to our community and the cause he fought for, he served his country for, in saving democracy. And to be in a place like Lynn that truly values the kind of opportunity that he obviously lived and passed on to so many, and what that looks like day to day, and his advocacy for education and how important education is to opening doors for everybody. And a place like this, a place that is open to everyone. I spend a lot of time down here, and it is so striking every time I'm here, the incredible diversity that you see. People from all walks of life, people from all over the world. And inequality and access to resources looks different in a lot of different ways, but one of the best ways that we have as humans to combat that and make us all strive towards inequality is to bring us all together. And cities do that. Cities like Lynn do that, to create these kind of public places where you can gaze on this gorgeous view and allow it to be open and available for everyone. And I will certainly reflect on Leader Boverini's legacy and service as I walk this walkway and have those thoughts. And I know the entire city will as well. Thank you so much for everyone who made this possible, and congratulations to the late Leader Bolverini.
Thank you, Mayor. I misspoke earlier. I left out someone who I look at to as my legislative director, but he's actually the state rep nominee of West Lynn, Sean Reid. So sorry, Sean. Very much value your service. Look forward to good luck next week in your unopposed election. Next, I'd like to introduce someone who's been working with us as a delegation since coming in. One of his first stops, I think, once he became commissioner, was down here. And this was one of the top items we brought up that we've been asking for years, the family had been asking for years, for the proper recognition of Boverini Walkway. And pretty quickly he sprang into action and has done a great job working with our friends groups in our community. Like many of you, I live just nearby here, and our kids are down in this park almost daily, and they've done a tremendous job keeping up with it. But this wouldn't be possible without Commissioner Arrigo's commitment to getting it done. So with that, Commissioner Brian Arrigo.
Thank you, Senator. Good afternoon, or good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Arrigo. I'm the Commissioner for the Department of Conservation and Recreation. Little known fact, the lobbying for this to get done by DCR actually started with a conversation that I had with former Senator McGee as I thought about taking this position. And we had coffee and breakfast in Revere, and he said, if you do think about taking this job, and if you do actually take it, can you please take a minute to look into this project and make this happen? And shortly thereafter, I did meet with the folks from Lynn, and we've got a number of items that we're prioritizing, but the delegation and the city and Tom were very adamant that this get done. And so on behalf of the Healy Driscoll administration, we're so proud to be here, and beautiful day, a beautiful celebration. And in my little bit of research, I did not know Leader Boverini, but in my little bit of research, what I appreciated in learning about his tenure was the fact that he came to office in a very difficult election, and we all know, those who have been elected know, that those are challenging times for people. And to learn that he was able to maneuver and have some of his former enemies and some of the folks that were working so hard against him come over to his side and work on his behalf is really a testament to his leadership. And I certainly appreciated that, especially in these times when people can be so divided, to have folks that understand the value of creating a bigger tent and really bringing people on board with the work that they do is a real, it is rare and something that I so appreciate. So thank you to everyone who's here today, and really appreciate the opportunity to work with our state and local leaders to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, I'd like to welcome up our former state rep, former senator, former mayor, current or newly appointed chair of the MBTA Board of Directors, Tom McGee. Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan. Thank you, Brendan, and thank you for the kind words, Commissioner. And thanks for really making this happen. I know you're a big part of it, and the delegation, I know, was really working hard to recognize Senator Bolverini and the work he did, and how important this is to recognize, continue to recognize who he was as a person. And a lot of us, or a lot of people know him as Senator Bolverini. I think it's good to understand what kind of a man he was and where he came from. Part of the greatest generation, born in the brickyard, grew up during the Great Depression, and right after high school ended up in the 8th U.S. Army Corps and went over to Europe. And when you think about it, and sometimes historically we don't kind of put an understanding of what it meant, he flew 35 missions over Europe during his time in the service. And if you look back at the history of the war effort during World War II and what that was all about, and the risks every day that those airmen took going over across the English Channel on those missions, and how integral a part of our victory that effort was. Not yet 20, going off there and doing that as a young man. That's where he came from. That's where he grew up, right here in Lynn. And then went on to, came back and really wanted to give back. Spent 18 years as an educator, as a coach, working with young people, steering them in the right direction, understanding that working with young people really made a difference for those young people he could work with every day, and for the community that he grew up in and lived in and cared about. And then went on to serve in the legislature. So he had a whole full life of of service, of commitment, and making a difference as a leader. And he did that in the Senate. And those of us that knew him and understood the kind of leadership as a majority leader over a decade of leadership in the Senate understand the work he was able to do. And we stand here in one of those things that politics comes back to being local. He fought hard to make sure that the money was here to rebuild this spectacular stretch of land we have in our community, Lynn Shore Drive and along here at Red Rock Park. So it's, as we reflect on the monument and all the work that went on and his leadership in the legislature, it's really, he was much more than that. He was an amazing person who really was the epitome of what the greatest generation was all about. I'm honored to be here with his family, with his daughters, to continue that recognition and put this stone here so that people that walk by will get a chance to know who Walter Boverini was and continue to remember what he was as a person and what he did to make our community a better place. So thank you for everyone that was a part of this. I'm just honored to be here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. I'd next like to welcome the members of the state delegation. I forgot to mention Rep. Capano earlier. He had a prior commitment, but we do everything together as a team here. So I'd like to welcome up Representative Dan Cahill and Representative Jenny Armini. Very well organized.
Want to go first?
No, you're speaking. I'm not.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. Dan Cahill. I think I was asked to speak because I think I'm the only sitting elected official that remembers Senator Bolverini's involvement in the city. That's how long I've been around. But, growing up in that house right there, Senator Bolverini was a figure larger than life. So in Lynn politics, right, there were two people that were like the gold standards. Former Speaker Tom McGee, back when I was a kid, not today, Tom, you're in that list. Speaker McGee and Majority Leader Walter Bolverini. Now, these two individuals were legends for a lot of things. But as a young politician, in sitting and speaking with Senator Bolverini, I learned quickly what made him such a force. He was somebody who made sure he got the job done. And I felt bad for people who got in his way, because he was not somebody who suffered fools very lightly. He made sure that if you were a resident of Lynn or his district and you needed help, whether it was housing, whether it was for your kids, whether it was for infrastructure projects, he was a go-to person. And he made sure that he got those things done. He told me very early on, constituent services, constituent services, constituent services. If you are able to do that well, you will be rewarded with re-election, and then it'll put you in a position to be able to do great things. And that's what Senator Bolverini did. Growing up, I remember looking at old yearbooks, and there was Coach, Bolverini from Lynn English. I'm a Lynn English graduate. I'm sorry for the folks who aren't. But he was a legendary educator. He was someone also who did a tremendous amount with people with disabilities. And he was able to secure tremendous amounts of financing and ensure that parents who had children with disabilities got the access to education and the services they need. And you saw that throughout his career. But as we sit on kind of his monument, back in the 80s, this entire stretch had come into terrible disrepair. And it was Senator Bolverini that had a tremendous vision for this space, not just to make it a beautiful stretch for an example of how wonderful the city of Lynn is, but really for the Lynn residents. All Lynn residents can walk down and enjoy this beautiful space. And he was the driving force with the water sewer separation system that, made a lot of the upgrades possible. I want to thank him for the extra curb cut that he put in my parents' house years ago. That's right. Quick call to Senator Boverini, need an extra curb cut? Done. That's the type of person he was. But this type of infrastructure, this type of meaningful, long-lasting monument to his career is something that we all kind of strive for, but no one ever expects. And I don't think Bo would expect it. We call him Bo. I can call him Bo now. I had to call him Senator Boverini back then. But something that he deserves, and something that he certainly didn't ask for. He did it because it was the right thing to do. But certainly something for us to remember someone by that really gave everything to his community, his country, his city, his state. And he's an example, I believe, that all of us could strive to try to live by, the code of helping others, doing it quietly, doing it well, and if someone gets in your way, you get them out of the way, and I kind of respect that. So I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Representative Armini, who represents this area, and I want to thank the Boverini family. Maria and I went to high school together. That's the true legacy of Lynn English graduates here. And I want to turn it over to my good friend Jenny. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 8th Essex District. I am so proud to represent this wonderful plot of earth here. I sadly did not know Senator Boverini, but the one thing that I do have in common with him is that my father also served in World War II in the Army Air Corps, and those guys are incredibly special people. And so I can only imagine the patriotism and the sense of service and the work ethic, because I'm grateful to come from one of those men. So thank you for being here. I'm in awe of what he was able to accomplish for this city. I drive along this road every single day. I spend a lot of time here, and it's incredibly special. And so to be able to actually take a few moments to appreciate that this came from really hard work, and from someone who loved his city above self and his country above self. So thank you for letting me be part of this, and I thank Senator Boverini for this wonderful, wonderful spot.
Thank you, representatives. As I mentioned earlier, this has been project has been driven by the family for quite some time, and really appreciate all of their work and help they've offered along the way. I'd like to welcome Senator Boverini's daughter, Louisa, to share a few words.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to see so many of my father's friends, so many of my friends, my family, my work friends from Spur. And it's just a few years ago, I was walking down here and I said, you know, it'd be nice because my dad really liked big things, heavy things. He was a woodworker. And I think the stone is a perfect, just a perfect choice for this monument. One of the things that, you know, my dad was a great, you know, in addition to being a great, you know, public servant and, you know, a great coach, a great friend to so many, and did so many for so many individuals. One of the big lessons that he taught us was to treat everyone the same. He treated everyone with dignity, respect, and, you know, and I feel like that's the biggest lesson that he left us. And I think that that's why this monument is so important, because so many people come and use this park from different walks of life. And it's a place for, you know, as Mayor Nicholson said, a place where everyone can get together and enjoy this space. And so I think that truly is, you know, is so important, and I'm so happy to see this happen. I'd like to really thank Sean Reid too for helping me, you know, carry this over the finish line. I approached Mayor McGee was helpful, Senator Crighton. And so I feel like, you know, so many people were helpful, and it's so nice to see Mike Leonard here. You know, he was my dad's closest ally, I think, and hugest champion. And so it's just nice to see him too. So I really want to say thanks to everybody for being here. It's really, really great.
Thank you, Louisa, and thank you everyone for coming out here. We'd ask that you come behind the monument. We'd love to have a picture with everyone that was here today. And again, thank you for taking the time.